Hello, Mr. Terry.
Hi.
Welcome to another muddy Monday at Parx. All that rain from Ophelia, the tropical storm that moved through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, messing up the track, making it wet and sloppy day after day after day. So it should be interesting. The last time we were at Parx where it was wet, if I remember correctly, some horses did manage to come from off the pace, but like usual at Parx, I think speed is probably the way to go today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah. Usually it seems to me when it's sloppy, speed does the best. So,
Hmm. Yeah, we had some pretty nice winners. I think we only missed two. Didn't have our pick, the winner in our top picks at the Pennsylvania Derby, and I think two races on all the
yeah.
stakes races. And I think the one we missed on always was our the next pick up in line. So we'll see if we can get all the way through the card today with winners in our selections from top to bottom. Terry, starting
Yeah.
off in race number one. But before we do that, a little bit later on today, we're supposed to be a little bit nicer. Will Rogers is the free track today at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. So link down in the description below. Just kindly click on that, whether you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on YouTube, and you see Cash Queen is the top choice and also a best bet in that race at 12 noon Eastern. So coming up in about 27 minutes or so. That again down in the description down below. All right, Terry, let's get cracking on Parx today, starting off in the first race. What are our conditions?
Okay. It's a mile and 70 yards. It's a claiming race, $7,500 claiming price. The purse is 21,000. Is for fillies, 3-year-olds, or fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward, which have never won 3 races.
All right, and a mile and 70 yards. We do have a profile of a winner. Quite a few races at a mile and 70 yards today. So keep an eye on the opener to see what the track and bias might look like throughout the day. You see a horse get to the lead and just stay out there and nobody can close in on it. You get an idea that maybe the wetness is favoring speed. But so far, the track does favor speed anyway. 30% of the time, 31% of the time, it goes wire to wire. A little bit of a rail edge for Cinnamon Dream. 2 and 3 play a little bit under par. 4 through 7 play fair. 8 and out, there's a little bit of a penalty. So I don't think we come into that case in race number one today, is it's a 6-horse field, Terry. 1,000 simulations using speed figures to create our own odds, looking for value. The lower the number, what we really want to see is the simulation odds lower than the morning line odds. Here on the quarter mile marker, we're looking to see what horse has the best percent chance of being on the lead based upon early pace numbers, and then C-zone based upon our 1,000 simulations of early speed, which horses are likely to get a trip that best matches some of their prime efforts. Terry, what do you see in the numbers?
Well, that number 2 horse has so much speed, probably going to have a jetpack and really go like crazy.
It's going to go airborne.
Yeah, the 4 has the best C-zone. I mean, the best simulated odds overlay. It goes from like 4 to 5 or 3 to 5 to like 5 to 2. That's the only one I see, but the C-zones are the 5 has the best with the 4 and the 2 following up with that.
So Charles saying at Parx, the inside of the track has puddles near the rail. So those rail horses could struggle. I imagine you'll probably see everybody move out to the 2 or 3 lane, right?
Yep.
And then here we have, hello, Johan Flores. Yes, we are indeed making our picks for Parx. If you have any picks for Parx, let us know in the comment section. We also do trip handicapping or pace handicapping, whatever you want to call it. You see here, E-horses, they want to be on the front. They typically are your pace setters. The EPs can pace set or ride shotgun. Ps like the ride shotgun. The PCs can be in the front seat. They can be in the back seat. They can drive the car. They can push the car if it's out of gas. They're the most versatile in the group. And you see are your closers. They want to be come from off the pace. They want to hope the pace up front is too fast so they can run down tired legs. NC horses have not been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish line and up to the last 10 races. And, of course, the first means horses that are making the first start. Just looking at this graph, Terry, there's a Sesame Street horse in here, the 3. The 3, if these 2 can go too fast, might get a really good trip, especially if there's a lot of speed with the 2 and the 6. And they are the 2 speed horses, considerably better than the 3. So 3 might be a little bit far off the pace relative to where it wants to be. Late speed, if they go too fast, does belong to Cinnamon Dream, the closer, along with Milwaukee Bay and the other closer. They're all right in there. Although this horse right here, the lone P horse, does have almost as much late juice as some of the closers. Of the closers, it looks like Cinnamon Dream is the one that'll be the most forwardly placed. So maybe that's the one. It also scores the top total pace that can come from off and score this race if it's not a speed bias. Terry, what do you think?
Well, I like the number 4 Milwaukee Bay, even though I think speed holds up in the slop. I think she's going to do fine in here, even though she's come from behind or off the pace. She finished third in her last race as a favorite, but she has a trainer who wins 50% of the races when bringing a big favorite back again, and has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. I like the 6 Leviac.
I don't know what I
Yeah,
Y I Y I Y I. I have
yes.
no idea what that is, but I'm guessing that's how they pronounce it.
Yeah, well, she won her last race at Parx Racing by 13 lengths.
Oh, that was a close one.
Yeah, has the highest last speed rating, and her early speed running style will help her chances. Number 2, so softly. Her early speed running style helps her chances, and she may improve while returning. I like the 5 as my long shot. She ran second in her last race, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starter. She's actually tied with Milwaukee Bay. I like $1 double. I'm going to use the 4-6 with the 1-2-4, and I'm going to play $2 win in place on the 4 and hope that I get some kind of a good price.
All right. Well, right now the 4-horse is 5-2, so it's a decent price. The 6-horse, 2-1, getting back down to 1-2. Boy, it looks like the bettors there really are expecting. Oh, it's raining like hell there still. Picture on the screen, and it's going to be sloppy. And I don't see any hope for it to get any better. Quite frankly, wouldn't be shocked if they cancel the card at some point based upon what you see there. Aye. All right, there you go. Charles B's got it right. Aye. We're close. Aye. It's just a little different pronunciation. I'm going to go with aye at that 1-2 as my top pick. Probably would change that if I were at the track. Don't see value in 1-2. But that horse does indeed show that it has the top last race speed figure. Was 8 points better than the next closest horse last time out. Again, I'm reading that book by Andrew Beyer. Research says if the top speed figure is 3 points higher than the next closest horse, those horses have a very strong chance to win. This one has a really good chance to also be better in the second off the bench. But with that big speed figure, the potential for that balance is there. So I would probably look elsewhere for your win bets. Maybe Terry's 4, Milwaukee Bay. Was the 40-cent favorite last time. It did regress in that race, but does like to run at Parx 8 times up, but only 1 win. Likes to hang. Finish second 4 times, and then 1/3 in there. The 1-horse, Cinnamon Dream, better 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers last time out by a huge margin. I don't know to what degree the rail will be a bonus today because of those said puddles, but just looking at the track, it looks like it's puddled everywhere. And then number 2, So Softly, that's the one that's going to be the pace setter. Going to catch a weight break today. Maybe all that backsplash on all those other horses can help that horse keep the lead. I'm going to do a trifecta key, the 6 over to 1, 2, 4, 5. I think the 6 wins. Maybe you get a decent price on some of the horses behind it. Again, at the track, I probably wouldn't make that play if I were there. One thing I will be there tonight. I probably won't because I have stuff to do tonight, but again, this evening, Jamie Martinez, fresh off of her tremendous trip to, did you see her in her, with the America's Best Racing up there in Woodbine, Terry?
Yeah, she did a good job as far as I'm concerned. So,
yeah, she did a fantastic job. So maybe one day she'll be a horse racing today graduate up into the big leagues. But that'll be on tonight with jockey Lindsay Herbert, 18 wins in her young career. Make sure you tune in for that at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now we're going to tune in for the opening race at Parx for this muddy Monday and see what happens. And they're off. The 2-horse and the 6-horse have ventured towards the front. We figured the 2-horse would be on the lead there. It's the way we saw it. 6 horses to the outside. They did get up off that rail pretty quickly, as Charles B. suggested they might because of the puddling down there. But you see just stuff splashing every which way. Those 2 have a pretty sizable gap over the next couple of horses. The 1 down on the rail to the outside of that, the 4, Milwaukee Bay. And then you have behind that, tough to tell through the rain. But they went through the opening quarter in 22 and 4. I don't know, Terry, for 1 mile and 70 yards. if they can go 22-4, win, unless the other ones are just that bad. Because they are starting to really open up. I'm suspecting somebody's going to roll these horses down at the end, unless they can go like 50 in the second half here. The 2-horse continues to maintain the lead. They did run a 47, so they did get to slow it down a little bit. I don't know that they're going to be able to hang in there. That 1-horse and the 4-horse are making, and the 5-horse are making a pretty stiff run. The 2-horse continues to hold on. They burnt that 6-horse to a crisp. Now it's going to be a question. They just went too fast. I don't know what that jockey's thinking. I'm thinking you got to stay away from those 3 to 5 at Parx, just like I mentioned at the top. I don't know how the 2-horse holds on, but maybe he does. It looks to me like right now the 1-horse is making up ground on the outside. I don't know if he's going to make up enough to go by him. 2's trying to hurt him a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold him off. You got the 5 on the outside of that. But this race is going to go 1, and then 5, and then 2. 1, 5, 2. And then the 3. 1, 5, 2, 3. I'm not so certain, Terry, to be honest with you, that you can say that there's an anti-speed bias off that race, because you go out in a mile 70 yards on the slop in 22 and change, you're just not going to be there at the end, right?
Yeah, that's right. Look at that, 1 is 15-1.
Did I change my? Charles, thank you. You could hardly hear me. You could probably hear me better now, I suppose. Little bit of old timers right there. That 1-horse went off at 15-1, Terry.
It did.
Yeah. Well, I should have put that one as my key box, but I didn't have the 3 in there either. So, but when you look at it, I mean, the way that race shaped out with that 1-horse with that late pace, figured it would be like 3rd or 4th right there, and then you got it again, the top total pace. I would encourage everybody. I will put the timestamps in YouTube when we're done to go back and look at each race at the top total pace horse, because they do tend to factor more often than not, right? Thank you, Charles, for reminding me. I just had an old man moment right there. I just forgot. It happens, unfortunately, more frequently than you want, but it's just a sign of the times for me. Race 2, Terry, they're going to run 1 mile and 70 yards again. Hopefully they don't go out in 22 and change. What's this one all about?
Yeah, it's a maiden claiming race, $10,000, purse $19,000 for maidens and fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward.
Yeah, pretty basic stuff right there. Again, 1 mile and 70 yards tends to favor speed, as long as they don't decide to drag race out of the gates in an opening quarter that even would be questionable for 6.5 furlongs at Parx. But if they run to the norms, early speed will do all right. They're a little bit inside edge, maybe 2 and 3 play a little under par. 4 through 7 they play fair. 8 and out, a little bit of a penalty. Again, Terry, I don't know that we have 8 horses in this field because of a couple of scratches in race number 2. So we're down to 6 horses with the 3 and the 5 out, Terry, but it doesn't change who has the early speed.
Yep, here's another one that shows lots of speed. Should get to that quarter pole first. The 1 has a really nice overlay. I think it's a nice overlay. It's even money to, what's that, about 7 to 5, 8 to 5. Mm-hmm. So anyway, and then as far as the C zones, the 7, 1, and 4 show the best C zone numbers.
Yeah, but none of them are really all that strong. So everybody be a touch uncomfortable in the spot. In race number 2, I think we're going to find a horse that has a pretty big edge early on anyway. You got this triangle shape right here with everybody that wants to be middle back. Again, the 4, the 6, and the 8, and their limited careers have not finished within 5 lengths of the winner at the finish line when they took the photo. The 7, 1, and 2, they'll be forwardly placed. If the 7 can get the lead, could be really dangerous out there by himself. I don't think that's going to be the case. You see the 2 horse here, True Phenomenon. It's your left arrow horse, a closer, but its early speed says it's about 2 lengths faster than everybody else in this group, Terry. We saw that in the simulations. And unlike the first race, it doesn't really look like anybody in here is going to have the ability to go out and challenge. I'm sure somebody will. But if they don't, that one could get away with a little bit more reasonable fractions and maybe take the field wire to wire. If we see another one come off the pace again, it looks like the rail horse might be that one, Terry, with a 10-point late pace advantage. Christopher D'Souza, you got to like that one. As far as our total pace is concerned, again, 15-1 last time out on the opener. That was your winner. That was your top total pace horse. True Phenomenon, the early horse this time, is about a 5-point lead. That's about 1 length everything works out according to total pace, the True Phenomenon will win by a length, Terry. But you think the one horse is going to go back to back in the opening 2 races?
I do. I like Mamma Mia Estorina. She finished second versus similar in her last race, has the highest last race speed rating, switches to high percentage winning trainer, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. The 4 is my second pick, Cape Nedic. She finished third versus similar in her last race, has a high percentage winning jockey. True Phenomenon. The 2 is my third pick, ran second versus similar in her last race and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. 8, Wild and Sassy is my long shot. She has a high percentage winning jockey. I'm going to play a 50-cent pick 4. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 4 with the 2, 3, 4, 6 with the 1, 2, 4, 7 with the 4, 8.
It's Christopher D'Souza in race number 2. He's got the 1, the 2, and the 7 with the 1 horse. We figured Christopher would like those long shots. If, like Christopher, you have some ideas about what horses you should play today at Parx, Will Rogers, which is our free track at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Again, link down in the description below. Or any of the tracks running today. The East Coast is pretty wet, so there's going to be a lot of wet tracks out there today. So do you know how to watch Parx live racing stream? Unfortunately, we don't. The only way that I know that you can get to watch is open an account. I have one at Twin Spires, TVG, and some other places as well. But for some reason, my Twin Spires account got closed. I don't know why that is, but it did. So I'm going to call them and find out. But if you open up an account, Satan, with one of those, if you're offshore, you have some of us like Bet Us and others where you can open an account. You might have to deposit a few dollars, maybe Bitcoin. Most of the time, they'll let you watch the horse races for free. I know what's the other one. Betfair is another big international one, right?
Yeah.
And then he asked, how long have you been doing form for? Terry, I mean, you've been doing it since you were like 3, so that puts it at about 150 years for you. And then for me, I've been doing it since I was about 19 years old, so I'm 57, so about almost 50 years now, well, 40 years now. My math is fantastic. I actually went to the track for the first time in college with Joe Christofek, the guy who does the handicapping for Churchill Downs and those Twin Spire affairs. So for quite a while right there. Small field, wet track, favor the leaders. No, therefore number 2 should be with the bias. That's what we thought in that first race, but they went too fast. I do think the short track, wet field, I do think the 2 horse is going to win this race, Terry. True Phenomenon, left arrow horse, again, with closer that should be forwardly placed, has a pretty strong early pace edge over the rest of the horses. I think about 11-point edge. And I think it'll be really tough to keep up with her. Number 1, Mamma Mia Estorina. Top last race speed figure. Did run a Z pattern last now. Early pace was here. Mid-pace race kind of dropped off. Got the second win down the stretch and saw a resurgence in the pace numbers there. And room to be better in Charles's favorite handicapping third after layoff. Cape Nedic, another one that ran a Z pattern last time out. And also improved its internal race numbers in the beginning and the end. Finally, Only Girl, the 7, chance to be forwardly placed against most of the other horses in here and does have some of the best late pace. I'm going to go with a pick 4, 2, Terry. I'm going to go with the 1 and the 2, with the 2, 3, with the 2, 6, 7, with the 1, 3, 4, and 8. In case you're wondering, we do have a $100 budget we try to stick to and make that money last throughout the entirety of the card. I have better luck at that sometimes than others. Every now and then, Professor Terry over here gives me a call, breaks out the proverbial ruler and whacks me across the knuckles. Rich, you spent $2.15 too much.
Yep.
He's a stickler for details. You got to love that, especially if he's your accountant.
Yeah.
Terry, what are the details for race number 3?
5.5 furlongs. It's an optional claiming race, $16,000 claiming price. There's a purse of $25,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, which have started for $16,000 or less, and which have never won 2 races, or claiming price of $16,000, and which has never won 2 races.
In case you didn't miss that, they can't win 2 races. It was so important they put it in there twice, Terry.
Yeah.
5.5 furlong profile of a winner. Believe it or not, at Parx, I kind of find it interesting. At 5.5 furlongs, it becomes tactical speed, not just straight up burn them out speed. Although 38% of the time they still go wire to wire, but you still got a good chance to win if you're mid-pack or back. Pretty strong rail bias for Spirit's Hero. Overall, there is a very strong inside 3 bias. 4 through 7 get penalized. 8 and out, they get a bonus. So be on the inside or the outside.
a barbell approach to race number 3, Terry. We don't have 8 horses, but we have plenty of speed.
Yeah, they all have a lot of speed. 3 shows the most, but really it's anybody's guess who's going to get to the quarter pole first. Number 2 has a really good C zone. It goes from 2-1 to 5-1 on the morning line. And the 5 goes from, about 8-5 to 5-1 on the morning line. The 1, 4, and 2 have the best C zone numbers.
Again, it looks like none of them have a really strong number. Yeah, I want to see a number in the 70s. So again, a race that not only is going to be uncomfortable with all the wet, but looks like just the pace is not going to make anybody happy. Here we see the other sided triangle. We have a left triangle with all of the horses except for the 4 wanting to be middle forward. So if I see this pattern and I go over here to the late pace and the 4 horse has a huge late pace advantage, which he does not, I'd be inclined to consider that 4 horse is almost a single in there. But look at the early speed in here, Terry. Once again, we do find 1 horse in here, Jackie's Pride, a 3 horse. It's likely to pull the card about a length and a quarter faster than everybody else through the quarter-mile marker. Just doesn't have the late legs late. That belongs again to the 2 and the 4. But you see pretty much everybody but the 3 is within a few points of one another. So I think early position will play a role in this race, probably be one of the key factors. And then if you look at the top total pace, again, a really competitive race within 5 points, all horses except the 1. I think the 1 might be one you can toss, might not be the best idea, Terry. This race to me is wide open. What do you think?
I agree with that, but I like number 6 if we get lucky as my top pick. One is last race at Penn National, has a high percentage winning trainer and has a wins 70. This trainer wins 17% of the sprint races he has a horse entered in. Number 4, Northwoods. He's my second choice. He also won his last race at Penn National and has a high percentage winning jockey. Number 3, Jackie's Pride, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey and a good 4 furlong workout on September 16th. Number 2, Faith. He ran second versus Simmer in his last race, has highest last race speed rating, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And I'm not going to bet anything this race.
All right. It's Christopher D'Souza. He's going to go in there with that 1 horse, Spirits Hero, with the win place show. And then he's going to box it up with the 2 and the 5 for your exactas and your trifectas. Well, Terry, I'm like George Michael. Got to have faith. Top last race speed figure for that horse by 9 points coming in from the Naira circuit, along with jockey Trevor McCarthy, really good friend of the show. And it's the only race he's coming in for today, Terry. This is it. He's going to do everything he can to bring this one home a winner. Jackie's Pride, going to be your pace setter most likely. Some of his best workouts getting prepped for this race. And I would not be surprised to see a peak effort off the bench for Jackie's Pride. Number 1, Spirits Hero. It's the 3rd race after the layoff with Paco Lopez, who wins just about every race he can at Parx. It's the 3rd race in the cycle. Yeah, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. The horse did show more confidence late in its last effort. And then finally, if we get lucky, your top pick, Terry, makes it 4th for me. Won its only race on a wet track, and that was by far his, or one of, maybe not by far, but by a decent margin, best speed number 4, if we get lucky. I'm going to do exact the key box with that 2 horse and our friend Trevor McCarthy with the 1, the 3, and the 6. Race 4, 10 races today. Terry, like always at Parx, somehow they get a full card of 10 races every single day, and other tracks struggle. And Pennsylvania is not really known as a horse racing state. So maybe some of the other states that are struggling a little bit might think about visiting the Pennsylvania model and see why it's working there. And I don't see any reason why it couldn't work elsewhere, Terry, do you?
No, I don't. And yeah, they should do that. She should go and look it over for themselves and see what they can pick up to help their tracks. But anyway, this
question,
yeah.
Let me pull up race number 4, Terry.
Okay. Well, this is 6.5 furlongs. It's a claiming race for $15,000 claiming price with a purse of $28,000. It's for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, which have not won a race since June 25th. Claiming races for $12,500 or less are not considered, or which have never won 4 races.
6.5 furlongs, the kind of horse that you usually find in the winner's circle, has early speed. 5. I can't believe I'm going to screw this up. I think 5 out of 12 go wire to wire. That's not right. 31% of the 5 out of 16, excuse me, I'm thinking about 8. It's 5 out of 16 go wire to wire. There is a rail edge. The rail plays fair for ambitiously placed. And then you have 2 and 3 getting a little bit of a bonus. 4 through 7, a little bit of a discount. 8 and out play fair. So it looks to me like you want to be the 1, 2, or 3, or maybe on the outside again. There's a little interesting note here. Scott Lake owns this one, and he's training that one. Yeah. What do you see in terms of what Scott Lake's horse might do out of the gate?
Well, it doesn't show any speed, but anyway, the speed is the 2 and the 7, with the 2 showing the more speed. They may go head to head, who knows. The 1 does have a nice overlay, even money to 7 to 2. And the C zones, the 4, 7, and 2 show the most, especially the 4 and the 7.
Yeah, the 2 horse is a bit scary in this respect. One that's likely to get the lead does have a good C zone, so should be kind of happy to be up on the front. Does our pace setup tell us it'll be there? It does indeed. 2 horses right away jump out to me on this theory. When you see, because the EPs and the PCs are your most versatile, don't have any closers in here. So everybody's going to want to be what typically would be forwardly placed. You look in here, the 5 and the 7 as your lone EP PCs. Instantly, you have to take a look at those horses. No question about that. As far as your early speed is concerned, look at this race, Terry. You got all horses except ambitiously placed going to get after it when the gates open. That one could sit 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe, and just let those other ones burn themselves out. The problem for that is Sassy Charlie, the 6 horse, not only has some of the most early speed, but does have a pretty significant late pace advantage over everybody else. So you might not be able to pass that one if you can't catch it. Also has a pretty strong total pace advantage, 9 points better than everybody else. It looks like only the 1 and the 5 kind of don't fit in, but with so much speed going forward, I think you can't completely toss out the 1, Terry. Did you?
I did not. Although I used the 7 as my first choice, Flashing Diamond. She drops in class today, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his or her best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Ambitiously placed, the 1 that you just referred to, ran 2nd versus similar her last race, and she earned the highest last race speed rating, actually tied with another horse. And anyway, I like She's a Super Freak because my 3rd choice, the number 2, drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And then 4th, my long shot, Bravo Zulu. She won her last race at Parx Racing and has a trainer jockey combination who in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 5 starts. I'm not going to play any bets here. I actually spent quite a bit on my first pick 4. So
you went a little bit crazy. Hoping
I
to come
did.
on with some prices.
Yep.
I'm going to start with Sassy Charlie. It's not even in your pick, so I probably should revise that. This one is a track dropper. Last workout at Parx was pretty nice. So it looks like it likes the track and then has that top total pace by 9 points. Again, anytime you close in on 10, 5 to 1 morning line, maybe we can catch some value with that. Anytime you close in on a top total pace that is 10 points around there or more, it's a horse that you have to have in your picks. Unfortunately, many times at Parx, even though like you saw in the opening race with that 1 to 2 shot, sometimes those really short priced horses at Parx, for whatever reason, don't find the winner circle. Number 7, Flashy Diamond is the 2nd choice for me. Drops to its lowest level in its last 10 races and one with an opportunity to get better in the 3rd start after a layoff. She's a Super Freak, the Rick James horse. It's also a Jamie Ness, Ruben Silvera horse. Dynamic duo. They're super freaky, getting to the winner's circle a lot. It is a very consistent performer, low ceiling, high floor type horse. Pretty much runs the same race over and over and over. This one's going to make its 3rd start after a layoff and drop in class in doing so. Then finally, number 1, that Scott Lake owned, Scott Lake trained horse, ambitiously placed. Some of her better performances have been in sprints like today. Does have the top last race speed figure and been pretty effective at Parx. 15 races with 5 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 thirds. I'm going to do a pick 4 with the 6 and the 7, the 1, 3, 4 with the 6, 7, the 1, 2, 4, and 5 horse, Mr. Terry.
Okay.
You ready to try race 5?
I sure am. So
right, what do we got going here?
In race 5, we have a 1 mile race. It's optional claiming again, $16,000 on the claiming price. First 25,000 For 3-year-olds and upward, which have started for 16,000 or less, and which have never won 2 races or claiming price for 16,000, and which have never won 2 races. I don't know why they have to say that twice, but they do.
Just to make us a little busier. You can see here, Caddy's uncle's not in for a price. Because if it was, there would be a $16,000 printed right there, like it is printed here. So if you're looking through the Brisnets, you want to see which horses are up for sale. That's how you know. 1 mile profile of a winner, Terry, does favor horses with early speed. A lot of them, 36 out of 100, go wire to wire. There is an absolute inside to outside bonus. So the closer you are to the rail, the better. So a little bit of inside of speed for that 1 mile optional claiming $16,000 race, Terry. And it's exactly where all the inside speed is.
That's right. There's 3 inside horses that show speed, the 2, 1, and 3. And the only other one is the outside horse, the 8. As far as the overlay goes, the 3 shows an overlay from 7 or 8 to 5 to 7 to 2 in the morning line. The 5 shows an overlay of like 7 to 2 to 6 to 1 on the morning line. And the 7 goes from just about 7.5 to 1 to 10 to 1 in the morning line. The 2, 5, 8, and 4 show the best C-zone numbers.
Just looking at this here, you got these 3 on the inside, and even the 4 horse, Scamp Walker, has a chance to get to the lead. All of them at some point, except for the 6, have shown some ability to get there. I'd be a little worried about the 8 horse if it can't clear, getting a wide trip, and Lord knows those wide trips, 3 wide through the turn, makes for some difficult difficult running to the finish line. Here we have another one of these horses in here, the 1 horse, the Sesame Street horse. That's unlike any other. It is the lone pressure horse in between a wall of speed and a wall of closers. So the 1 horse is hoping these 4 go too fast so it can get a little bit in front of these, get the jump as the front 4 start to tire. Speaking of early race speed, Terry, Caddy's uncle, North Pole, and Impetude. Yeah, maybe. And DeSantis. These guys are all going to go forward, Terry, but all of them, again, pretty close to one another. I'd be a little bit concerned, again, with this 8 horse if it gets stuck wide, especially with that late pace number falling off a bit. Doesn't necessarily, if it gets clears, then it's in a good spot. Fictional Fairy Tale with all of that speed early on could be the one that's best positioned to take advantage of it late. 10-point late pace advantage over everybody else. May not win, but probably one you should think about in your exactas and trifectas. North Pole, you see here these 4 horses, 1, 2, 3, and 7. The inside speed and the closer, according to total pace, might produce your trifecta, Terry. What do you think?
Oh, I like the 8 horse, that outside horse. She ran second versus similar in her last race as a favorite, but she has a high percentage winning trainer, and this trainer wins 33% of the races. When bringing back a beaten favorite to race again, she has a high percentage winning jockey, so she marks a lot of boxes off. Number 4, Scamp Walker is my second choice, finished 3rd versus similar in her last race, and she has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey as well. Number 3, North Pole, my 3rd pick. She has the highest speed figure at today's distance, so her early speed running style, that'll help her chances. And number 5 is my long shot, Beyond Best. She drops in class today. She has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 30% of the races in the 2nd race after claiming a horse. She has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. No bet again for me.
So, Caitlin, going back to race number 2, he says he likes the 2 horse in there. Do I think going up in distance will suit? Well, for me, the reason for the 2 horse getting the top call was the fact that it had this really strong overlay in terms of really strong early speed numbers in there. And then if you come back over to here, you do see that it typically wants to close. So it showed some late ability, the 2 horse in some prior starts, but it has this pretty aggressive early speed advantage. And I don't think, like in the opener, that you're going to see the type of fractions that you saw in the first one. If it can run 24 maybe in that opening quarter, I think it could be very difficult to run down. As for race number 5, Terry, on my picks, that's where we're headed to now. I have the 1 horse as my top selection. That one is Katie's Uncle. Was better in terms of its internal race numbers from the beginning to the middle of the end. Horse ran wide last time out, so moving to the inside should be helpful to get a little bit better trip, maybe get off that rail with all the water in down there. And as we mentioned in the pace setup, it is your lone P horse between the speed and the closers. Scamp Walker, the 4-horse. This one's been off since June, Mr. Terry. Last time the horse came out of the barn off a break, it did win that race, and then one improved after that. So it looks like one that does well with a little R&R. North Pole, the 3-horse. First race after a layoff, the horse had to go wide. Again, trying to clear some speed there. It'll be wide again today if it can't clear the 1 or the 2. But if it does, really good shot with a big overlay to take care of business. And then finally, the 8-horse, Impetude. I don't know if I'm probably Impetude. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Did run the top last race speed figure at Pimlico. It's going to be the second start after a layoff. Sometimes the horse pops. Sometimes it drops. But so far at Parx, been ineffective with 2 races and nothing to show for it yet. No bets for me in here, Terry, because I have a couple of pick 4s today where I try to spend a few bucks. Okay. See if that can be good, wisely spent money. All right, race number 2. We'll go back to that, Terry, because they're loading in the gates right now. According to our analysis, it looks like the 2-horse in here right now is 5-2. The 1-horse is your prohibitive favorite. Again, 3-5. We just saw a 3-5 really struggle in that last race. We'll see if that 3-5 can get the job done today. Terry and I are both hoping the 2-horse wins. Terry's probably be happy if the 4-horse collected as your W on the start of his pick 4. But I think he'd be all right with the 3-5 losing to the 2-horse. And then as far as our pace set up for the second race, again, you do see that there's really not much from many of these horses. I think the 2-horse getting forwardly placed, as long as he doesn't burn fractions again or have one of those never close horses just decide to throw the race, could get it easy off to some easy fractions. The 2-horse has indeed ventured off to the front. Does not look like the jockey's really asking a whole lot from True Phenomenon. As True Phenomenon gets out to the front, he has a little bit of pressure to the outside from the long shot Social Rebel, but wisely, the 2-horse does not take the bait. Lets the 6-horse go out there at 50-1 to see if indeed it can. 7-horse out there too. You got some 2 long shots out there. They went through 23-1, so probably a little bit on the quick side again early on as the 2-horse has resumed control. Hopefully, the jockey on the 2-horse can do a good job bringing that horse home. Looks like to me like the 6-horse is starting to fall out. The 7-horse at 25-1 is in second place still. It looks like on the rail, the 4-horse right now starting to make its move up. And then totally on the rail, you got the 1-horse probably moving the best of all the back horses in there. 7-horse at 25-1 continues to factor in there. Oh, that's the 8-horse that's coming up there. 2-horse continues to lead at 48-2. So they went a little bit slower in that second half. It could be difficult, I think, for people to run down the 2 here. The 1-horse is trying to make an effort. I don't think he's going to get there as your favorite at 1-2. Yeah, the other 7-horse just went up the track. So it looks like the only horse that maybe a shot to catch the 1-horse, the 2-horse is the 4. Although the 7-horse is getting re-engaged again after going wide up the track, which is kind of interesting to me. But the 4-horse right now looks like it might run by everybody. Yep, Terry's 4-horse is going to get the W here as somehow speed just cannot hold on. Although the 2-horse is trying to make a comeback. Is he going to get there? Oh, boy. That's going to be close, but I think the 4's head was down. It's going to go 4, 2, and 7, I think. So your 4-horse did get there, Terry.
All right.
I think.
8-1.
2 and the 4, they were battling it out. Went 2, 4, and then the 7. So I had the trifecta, but didn't have my pick 4. I should have went 1. It's always the next horse for me, folks. Always.
Yeah. Yeah, and the 4 was what, 8-1?
The 4 was 8-1. Yep.
Yeah, just
so
barely got that
started.
2.
What's that?
Looks like he just barely got the 2.
Well, it depends on whose head was down.
That's right, but I think the 4's head was down.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. I got the 7-horse in my picks at a big price. So if you bet the trifecta, you're there. The 2-horse did come back. I don't understand how. Let's see.
Well, the 4 bared out a little bit.
Yeah,
so
looks
that
like
helped.
the 4 head was down. It was 4-2-7-6. 4-2-7-6.
Yeah, the 4 bared out a little bit to the outside rail, which helped that 2 keep up with it a little bit better. So.
Well, that's a good way to start your pick 4, Terry. Like I said, always for me, it's the next horse, Terry. It's a killer for me, but
yeah,
always works that way.
It really does. Yeah.
unfortunately. All right. Well, let's see if we can do some better work in race number 6. Like I said, I got a lot of pick 4s today. Didn't spend a whole lot of money on any of them. Wish I'd have just bet my trifecta there because I would have had it. And my normal process of having 3, 2, 4, right?
Yep, that's true. So would have been
Race
nice it'd been nice if I went all in that first race in my double and just used my first 2 picks is the second race. That would have been nice. So
yeah, it would have been good. Or just use the one horse. My third pick in there and gone all. You wouldn't even need to go all. All right, 1 mile and 70 yards. They're going to do it again, Terry, for the third time. We saw closers win the first 2, so maybe you keep an eye on the closers in the third one too.
Yeah, it's a maiden claiming, $40,000 purse. It's $40,000 claiming price, $32,000 purse for maidens 3-year-olds and upward. Just something.
Yeah, I agree with you, Charles. A lot of times the favorites. Yeah, we just lost by a head bob there. I felt like I don't know. Looks like they're tiring up front in the wet. Maybe it could be the case there. So race number 6, 1 mile and 70 yards. We've seen the first 2 won by closers, folks. So let's continue to think that maybe closers will get the job done. You don't necessarily want to be out in the front. Looks like to me today, Terry, if indeed that is not right, speed does get the job done here. It looks like Plenty of Time might be the one that gets to the front and fades is the favorite.
Yeah, that's right. The 7 does show a lot of speed though, and also the 4. So you just never know. I'm not going to say who. Anyway, the 3 shows double the overlay. It goes from 3-1 to 6-1, and the 7 shows pretty nice. It's even money on the simulated odds, and morning line odds are 5-2. The 7 and the 6 show some C-zone, although none of the horses show much C-zone numbers.
So the 4 horse paid $18.20 to win. That's a good way to start your pick 4.
Yeah.
The exacta 4-2, $34.90. Not bad for $1. The $1 trifecta, 4-2-7. That one paid $2.21. So hopefully someone boxed the 4 picks. If you bet the 10-cent superfecta with the 4 picks, again, you would have for a dime $38.03. Not a bad return on investment there at all.
No.
Our race 6, way to the winner's circle pace sheet shows that, again, you got a race where nobody really wants to lead. The 6 and the 7, they've been the most forwardly placed. The 1 horse, Dan Sedini, has not been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish line, although that's likely to change today. The 2, 3, and 4 want to close. So, again, as much as it doesn't look like it, I mean, early speed should theoretically have a tactical advantage, and that's the 2, the 6, and the 7. They're quicker than everybody else. But if we see horses come from off the pace again, Christopher D'Souza, keep an eye on Tio Tony and Zoppy Fishman. Plenty of Time. The 7 horse, that speed horse, does have some late speed too. Also carries with it the top total pace along with the 6. Those 2 grading out better than everybody else. Let's go back to race number 2 and see that 4 horse in terms of the total pace. It was at the bottom of the pack there. So a little bit of a shock there. Definitely getting tied up front for that track is thick as quicksand. 4th path out, horses that are heavy runners don't get over it. Yeah, that's definitely you can see the horse is struggling up on the lead there when they get tired at the end. Terry, we got an idea of who's going to do what in race number 6. Who's going to win, in your opinion?
Yeah, I like the 7, Plenty of Time. You know, he ran second versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer, and he switches to high percentage winning jockey. And his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Number 6, Dudley Dickerson. He drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey as well. Tio Tony, the 4 is my 3rd pick, has a high percentage winning trainer and switches a high percentage winning jockey. Jockey 2. My 4th pick, which is my long shot, number 2 is I'm not going to pronounce it. He has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey, and his return to dirt offers hope for improvement. No bet for me in this race again.
I'm going to go with the 7 horse too. The speed horse in there, probably going to regret it based upon what we've seen in the first couple races there. Was the favorite, even money, first race at Parx after coming in from Kentucky, facing all the Churchill Downs type horses. As a September 12th work at Parx, 47-2, that's fast. So you can expect another good Parx effort from Plenty of Time. Dudley Dickerson, probably the biggest class dropper in this maiden claiming race. Resume says there could be a major move up the ladder in the second start after the layoff. Number 2, Aula comes in from Naira, the New York tracks. Trainer Michael Maker doesn't bring too many at Parx, but the 6 that he's brought in, 2 of them won and 1 of them finished third. And then Tio Tony, the 4-horse. If you look through the trip notes, you'll see that the horse really hasn't had a good trip in any of its last 10 races. Putting Paco on today changes that. It's also a horse that's track dropping. Trifecta 2, 6, 7 with the 2, 6. The 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 for me. 7th race, the beginning of the late pick 4, Terry. So if you're so inclined to play pick 4s, this is where it'll start. Good race.
That's right. It's a 7 furlongs. It's our first allowance race, $10,000. The purse is $32,000 for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and upward, which have started for a claiming price of $10,000 or less since January 25th, 2022.
And then 7 furlongs, the first time today we're going to see a race. I probably think it's the only one too today. Tactical speed, 30 out of 100, wire to wire. There is a strong rail advantage for Dr. Abby. And then the inside 3 overall do better. Again, an inside-out bias. The closer you are to the rail, the better. Speed's normally the way, has not been the way today. If there is speed, you kind of want it on the inside, Terry. There's a little bit of it in there.
Yeah, a lot of them show speed, although the 7 shows the most speed, followed up by the 4 and the 2. The 2 has an overlay of 2-1 on the simulated odds, and it's 9-2 on the morning line. And the 4 shows from about 7-5 to 4-1 on the morning line. The 1, 4, 2, and 5 show the best C-zone numbers.
Yeah, the 1 being the best of all. No chance to get to the lead, not the best simulated odds. Maybe we can make up for that over here in race number 7 in the race shape. And here we see nobody so inclined to usually go to the lead. Most of them are pretty versatile, the 1, 2, 4, 5, and 9 year PC type. So I would imagine one of those will probably take charge early on. All the others will collect up behind it with the 6, 7, and 8 wanting to close at the end. Again, the 4-horse here, Peak of Chic. It's got an 8-point early speed advantage. So that one should be out front on its normal pace. Not a pace setter normally. So I think it maybe runs a little bit reasonable fractions. On the way home, Unadulterated, another one that should be forwardly placed up in there, does have the top late speed in there. Broad Jumper, the 8-horse, the closer not too far behind. Spanakopita. Whatever. That one also with a little bit of late speed. Looking at your total pace picture here, Terry, you got 2 horses, the 2 and the 4 that stand out a little bit over the rest, particularly Unadulterated. 5 points better than Nick's one, 10 points better than that. 2-horse might be one that you want to think about putting in your exactas and trifectas, maybe key around it. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually like the 5 if had a chance. She finished 3rd versus similar in her last race and has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. Number 9 is my second choice, Our Fantasy. She has finished in the money in her last 5 races, winning 2 of the starts. So she's very competitive, and she has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Peak of Cheek. Number 4 is my 3rd pick. She ran 2nd versus similar in her last race, and her best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Number 2, Unadulterated. She ran 2nd in her last race and has the highest last speed rating. She's my long shot. I'm going to play a 50-cent pick 4. I'm going to use the 4-5-9 with the 6-7-9 with the 3-4 with the 7-9. If I had more budget, I would have thrown that 2 in that first leg.
So Charles pointing out that you want stalkers and middle pace horse and routes today. These track conditions, speed won't hold up. Closers can't close. Now we know. Sprint speed will hold up with these track conditions on the sprint side. In race number 6, back a race, Christopher D'Souza likes the 4-horse with the 1 and the exacta in the win place there. And then in race number 7, again, likes the 1-horse with the 8-7 for your exacta and your trifecta. I like the 4-horse in here, Terry, as my top pick. Maybe, again, regretful. It's going to be forwardly placed. I know that's probably not the place to be. 7 furlongs, so maybe a chance to stay up there. Has that 8-point early pace advantage. First up effort at Parx last time, pretty well. at Parx overall. 16 races, 7 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. Unadulterated, the 2-horse top last race speed figure. And that last race was better than it looks, as it ran a little bit better fractions at 6.5 furlongs versus the prior start at 6. If I had a chance, has the back class, Parx is absolutely the right track for a horse that's finished in the money 9 out of 10 races in Ben Salem. And then Dr. Abbey has that rail edge, does have that strong C zone, and is a fan of the wet track. 2 of its wins came in 3 races, and one of those horses, again, with a very low ceiling, high floor, just kind of runs the same race over and over and over again. You got to beat it. Won't give it to you. Pick 4 for me, 1, 2, 4, 5 with the 1, 2, 6, 7 with the 3, 4 and the 7, 9. A little bit of foreshadowing there. 7 furlongs is, it's one of those quirky distances, though, Charles, right?
Right. Kind of on the borderline, right? In between. So,
yeah, it's, all those one-turn races, I think, are typically sprints. Even like those tracks with the one-turn miles, they tend to favor horses that get forwardly placed more so than like the 2-turn races. 3 races to go, Terry, 8, 9, and 10. We'll start with number 8. Again, you'll tell us about what they're running for.
All right. It's 1 mile and 70 yards. It's an optional claiming race, $16,000 claiming price. The purse is $50,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won a race other than maiden claiming, starter, or state bred, or which have never won 2 races or a claiming price of $16,000.
Again, 1 mile and 70 yards is well, let's just put Charles's comment up in there, because I think that's what we're seeing play out today. We know mid-paced horses in route races under these conditions are going to do well. Speed's not holding up and closers aren't closers. Get the one in the middle that has a little bit of late legs to it. You probably find yourself one that has a chance to win there. Looking at race number 8 in terms of the early speed in there, Terry, it does look like the 5-horse has you got a bunch of them in here. So one of these guys in here is likely to be in that stalking position. What do you
That's
see?
right. Yeah, the 5 does show the most speed, but it's anyone's guess because the 5, 7, 8, and 9 show the most speed. And then the 7 has an overlay of like 2 to 5 versus 3 to 1 in the morning line. And then most of them have decent C zones. The 4 and the 7 have the best.
Yeah, the 7 with that C zone and that strong overlay looks like the horse to beat in here, Terry. Again, those low-priced horses at Parx can be a bit interesting. You got 2 horses here that are unlike the others: the 7, Exit Right, and the 4-horse, Swing Low, as we talked about with Charles B. There. Let's take a look at what the early pace looks like. So the horses that are going to have that stalking trip look like they're right here: the 7, the 5, and the 9. As far as those horses are concerned, which one has the most late speed? The 7, the 4, and the 9. It looks like that belongs to the 7 and 9 using what we've seen out of the track today. So 7 and 9 are the 2 horses that we've seen based upon today's running that have the best shot to win. Early pace, total pace, Exit Right, and Lease standing above all of the rest, although the 9 shows up in there again. So maybe the 9, Terry, one that I'm not sure either one of us has. Yeah, you do. Might be the best value in the race.
Yeah. Well, I have Exit Right as my first choice, the 7. Won his last race at Parx Racing, has high percentage winning jockey Paco Lopez, and has high percentage winning trainer Jamie Nest. And his best start speed is fastest among today's starter. That 9 that you just talked about, Occasional Moon, is my second choice. Finished 3rd versus Tupper in his last race. Drops in class today. The 6, 10 gauge is my next choice. He ran 2nd versus similar in his last race and has a high percentage winning trainer. I like number 2, Lease, as my long shot. He won his last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. I'm not making a bet here, saving it for the 9th race.
All right. In the race number 8, the Exit Right, wire to wire in its last. We might not see that today. All the race internals were better. Much bigger opening half numbers last time out and had a 6-point top last race speed figure. I don't know if that'll hold up. Again, probably want to see it 3rd with that late pace in there. Lease, this one's been off since July when Paco rode to a 12-length win. Paco stays on this horse today. The last time the horse came out of the barn after some rest, finished 2nd by a neck. So we'll put him in here 2nd by a neck behind the 7-horse, although I wouldn't be too upset if it won. Traffic Master, the 1-horse, big-time track and class dropper. August 19th workout at Parx suggests he will like the track. Number 6, 10 gauge shotgun, another track dropper. Second up after a layoff, consistently puts up numbers that would win this race, especially on the wet track. 50-cent try 12727 over to 12679. Terry, you did say you wanted to spend some money in race number 9. So that's what we're going to do now to see where you spent your money. Tell us a little bit about the conditions for spending money.
All right. Well, this is a 6 furlong race, and it's another allowance race, $55,000 allowance price. Purse is $55,000. It's for 4-year-olds and upwards, and that's about it.
That's it. Just be 4 or older, and you can get into this race. 6 furlongs does favor tactical speed, although a big number, about a little more than 35% go wire to wire. Post positions 1 through 7 are predominantly fair. 8 and out gets a little bit of a bonus. Again, all of that kind of goes out the window probably today with all of the slop and wet and mess that's going on in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Terry, again, another race where pretty much most of them can have a shot to get to the lead.
Yeah, they all have some early speed except for the 2. The 4 shows the best overlay. Is supposed to be like 2 to 5 and is like 7 to 5 or 8 to 5 on the morning line. And all of them have fairly decent season numbers except for the 3.
Scaramouche, Scaramouche. Can you hear the fandango? Looking at the pace setup for race number 9, the 6 and the 4, Terry, out there by themselves. Although the 1, 2, 3, and 5 are all very versatile horses, everybody middle forward in this race could be a pretty hot pace. The hottest of the pace belongs to Hollywood Jet. The 6 horse going to be a Hollywood Jet for certain. That one can get away with early fractions. That's a stakes-like number up top there. If it can hold on, but I don't know. Nobody's been able to do that yet. Would have a chance. Again, that sprint speed might hold up there, as Charles B. said today. Let's see if it does. Certainly doesn't look like he's got the late legs to hang on. Barron, who was supposed to run on Saturday's Pennsylvania Derby card, scratched out despite it being on the dirt, which was kind of surprising to me because he was a entry for the dirt, I felt like. He does have the most late legs, should be involved like everybody else early on, except for maybe the 2. Also grades out as your top total pace horse by 5 points. But again, everybody within 9. Race shape, jockey ride is going to be a key. A pretty open race in here, Terry, but you're pretty confident in 1.
Number 4, Bren. I really like Bren. He's my pick of the day at Parx. He likes Parx racing. He's finished in the money in 77% of the starts there. He's won 39% of those races, and the distance won't be a problem as he's done in the money 77% of the time, and he's won 38% of the races at today's distance. Scaramouche, the 3, is my second choice. He drops in class today. He's won 6 out of 7 starts at Parx Racing and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Number 1, World on a Wing is my third pick. I'm not sure what happened in his last race, but he has a bullet workout since then, so he's probably okay. And he loves the distance as he's finished in the money 90% of his starts at today's distance, winning 40% of those races. 6, the Hollywood Jet, is my long shot. He finished 6th in his last race as the favorite, but the trainer wins 50% of the races when bringing a beaten favorite back to race again, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. I'm going to bet $20 to win on number 4 and a $4 exacta for 3.
Yeah, you had 4-5 typed in there, so I kind of figured you were going to go there.
Okay.
I have the 4 horse Baron. The guy likes an off track, 6 times, 4 wins off the board on the other 2, coming out of a $100,000 non-graded stakes race. Again, was supposed to run Saturday, scratched out of there. The horse I think would have fared well on Saturday too. The September 16th workout, fastest of 90, says Baron is ready. Scaramouche, boy, the Parx record is nearly unblemished. 7 races, 6 wins, also working out pretty well. I think a big threat too. The 4 horse. Number 1, Word on a Wing. You can toss out that last race. Plenty of back class. Does have a bullet workout in early September, suggesting that last race is one that you can toss out. And then finally, number 6, Hollywood Jet. This one has the top Parx numbers overall. He'll try to go forward. It may not be the place to be today. Look out if that one can hold the lead into the stretch. But yeah, good horses taking the lead to the stretch so far are 0 for 2 at Parx today. No bet for me. Finally, race number 10, Terry, the last one on the card on this wet and wild Monday at Philadelphia. In race number 10, Terry, they're going to go 6 furlongs again.
Yep, that's right. To get a back-to-back 6 furlongs races. Claiming price $7,500, purse $21,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won 4 races. Another
And tactical speed, inside post positions 1 through 7 play fair, 8 and out. Under normal circumstances, a lot go wire to wire, Terry. It hasn't been the case so far at Parx. But if one's going to go wire to wire, it's Centerman Maddie.
Yeah, that's right. It shows a lot of speed. The only other, the closest to that is the 9, but not that close. So the 8 should be there first. The 9 does show the best overlay. It's supposed to be 2-5 versus 2-1 on the morning line. And as far as the C-zone, they all have pretty decent C-zone numbers except for the 2-3. So.
Well, hopefully the last 2 races were both exactly alike, identical. That's interesting in there. That doesn't happen too frequently. Terry, again, plagiarizing. I did put my picks up first today, but I don't. Of course, that's
yeah, you did. That's unusual. You don't usually do that, but you didn't call it as your best bet of the day, like I did, and bet $20, which is 20%
of the budget. You got an interesting shape here with these 4. Everybody else wants to close or not be off. If there's a race where speed should hold up, this should be it. But we'll find out if that's the case. If this is it, well, it is a short sprint, so speed should hold up in sprints. You got a lot of them in here, Terry. They're going to bust out early on, a handful of them showing a lot of early speed. It's going to be the speed of the speed, then with some late legs. Perfect Silent Cat does have the top late speed of that group in there. You know, this 1 in the 10 probably going to close in at the end as they all battle early on. I'd imagine you see a few of those peel off that have the front speed. Then the top total pace is Perfect Silent Cat, 10 points better than the next closest horse. That's going to be a big favorite. I think I agree with Charles B. You shouldn't bet big favorites at Parx, although I think we both put it at the top as your most likely winner.
That's right. The 9, it's my top pick, Perfect Silent Cat. And he finished second versus Tupper in his last race, drops in class today, and he has the highest last speed rating. Number 7, Ava Case Boy, as my second choice, ran second versus similar in his last race and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. The 2 is my third pick, won his last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer. I like Center Mid Maddie. The 8 is my long shot, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And no bets for me to in the last race as I run out of money. Plus, I don't think this is a good race to bet.
Charles says in theory it should go 9, 7, 6, 8. He's been putting those up for other races in there too. Race 3 coming up. Looks like 3, 2, 6, 5 is the theory based upon the track conditions. Christopher says best bet of the day, race number 10, the 1 with the 1 exacta box. Richard De La Torre with the great kind words. We appreciate it. Nice show today, guys. Great show today, guys. If you agree with Richard, which I have to agree with him. He's got the greatest name that anybody ever created, hands down. It means royalty. Hit that like button on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Follow us on all of our social sites down there below. I like the same horses Terry likes in that race, number 10, for some of the same reasons in there. Let's see what's going on. I'll go real quick through my thinking, and then we'll talk about race number 3. Perfect Silent Cat, top total pace by 10. Going to be up on the front, big late pace advantage. Ava K, Boy, better across the board. Going to show more in race 2 off the sidelines. Por Supuesto, the 2 horse. It ran a peak number last time. Last time out, when it ran a peak number, it followed that one up with another good effort. And then finally, Centerman Maddie. Paco rides, second start off a layoff with better internal race numbers. Chance to be better in the second start after a layoff as well. Back to race number 3. Right now, it looks like the 2 horse. I don't see the odds here. Let's see. The 2 horse is the favorite at 3-5. Faith was morning line 5-1. So that one got bet down pretty hard, Terry. And let's see what happens here. Wow, I got the exact key box. So I'm kind of hoping something at a price beats it, right?
Yeah, me too.
Let's see.
So I had 4 horses in this race.
And they're all about lined up. We're going to start about 15 minutes earlier tomorrow. So make a programming note of that. Again, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Swiss Army Sean and Jamie Martinez coming off of her wonderful show up at Woodbine, representing HRT proudly, greatly. I think you're going to see more of her on a bigger stage than the one that we've provided. And then they're off, Terry. Pretty clean break for everybody. Looks like they're all going pretty fast right now. The jockey on the 2-horse is absolutely asking him to get out to the lead. It looks like the 3-horse to the outside is the one that is getting a good trip, but everybody's being kind of forced wide. It is opening the rail up for the 1-horse in there, Spirit's Hero, if they so choose to go into that lane. The 4-horse, Northwoods, way off the pace. 2-horse, 22-2. To its outside is the 3-horse, and then the 6-horse outside of that. Again, it looks to me like just 6 is going to have a tough time, I think, going 3 wide. I think 2 is working kind of hard. It's already asking for that. Let's see if indeed that can hold up. It looks like the 1-horse is going to come up through the rail and have the best shot of taking this race. The 2-horse is still up on the lead, though. He's still hanging in there. It looks like the 6-horse coming up on the outside might be the one that gets by him. Terry, your top pick, but I think it's going to be the 2-horse. The 1-horse wasn't able to take advantage of that wet rail in there. 2-horse kind of veered out in front of the 6, so it's going to go 2, and then 6-1, 2, 6, and 1, folks. There you go, 2, 6, and 1. And the 6-horse, what did it go off at? I hope it went off at a little bit of a price.
5-1.
Yeah, not too good. That's not going to pay much for the exacta. Would have been better for both of us if the 6-horse had come home the winner.
Oh, I wished he had,
Yep. All right. Well, that wraps up all of our picks. Here they are again. Total picks for the card today. You had the 1-horse in race number 1. You had the 4-horse, of course, the next one for me in race number 2. The 2-horse in race number 3. Terry's looking to complete his pick 4 with the 1, 2, 4, 7, and then the 4, 8 in the back end. So we hope for Terry that makes its way through. Again, we'll start tomorrow at around 12:15 p.m. Eastern. Right now, Will Rogers is the free track over at a Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link down in the description below. Speed held in the sprint. That's exactly what you thought it might happen. All right. Favorably. Finally, a favorite. Haha. Yeah, I don't really want the favorites to win. He wasn't the favorite on the morning line, though. He was 5-1. Just kind of the bettors took him down. Maybe in your pick 4, it doesn't really hurt you that bad because he wasn't the favorite, Terry.
Maybe not.
Yeah. What were the double payouts on that one? Because I can't see it because Twin Spires closed my account for whatever reason. Again, if you haven't done so, kindly hit that subscribe button while you're here on YouTube. Another thing you can do on YouTube is you'll see there is a share button. Hit that share button, copy the link, and then take that link and paste it into your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram accounts, wherever it is that your friends follow you, so that your friends that like horse racing can come along and take advantage of all this fantastic data that we've put out there that's only available here. Terry, any final thoughts before you and I get out of here before we return tomorrow?
Yeah, I want to answer your question. That double was the favorite double by a lot. So anyway, everybody should be really careful with the way the weathers are. And look, everyone had to reset their password.
So they got hacked, right? That's what they're telling you.
That's probably what they're saying. Yeah. So
if you have to reset your folks, when you get just personal finance issue, I don't know. But if you get it unexpectedly, you get a new credit card in the mail and you didn't order one and the expiration date's not for 2 more years, that means they had they were hacked is what that means. They had an incident. If you got to change your password, that means you're hacked. The unfortunate thing for me is I can't access I had to get a new computer a few weeks ago. If you remember, we missed a couple of shows because of my ongoing technical difficulties. And I can't remember, I think I know the password, but I can't get into my Horse Racing Today email address. And folks at GoDaddy haven't been able to help me either. So I'm still trying to get into there, which is probably where the link is for me to change my password. But in any case, Terry,
you can always say that you forgot your password and they'll take you, they'll identify you, take it to your email and give you a link to come back and change it. So.
So Twin Spires got hacked. Good news. Short Churchill down Stockton.
Everything's getting hacked nowadays. If you think about it, I mean, you just can't stay away from it. So
now, there was a CIA guy or an FBI guy on the radio one time, and I was listening, and he said absolutely all of your data is already on the dark web. So all you can do is monitor your stuff and make sure that if something goes wrong, you bring it to the attention right away, right?
Yeah, Charles.
He called them and they fixed it. That's what I'm going to have. So you couldn't log in either. Then I was wondering what was going on. I'm like, did they see us on the show and say that, we're not allowed to look at their stuff anymore? I was wondering what was going on. Right? They could send you an email, except again, my password, that's in a email I don't have access to. All right. We're rambling on enough, Terry.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, just be careful with all this really bad weather, and give your loved ones a kiss and a hug and tell them how you feel, because you just never know what's going to happen in the next few days. So anyway, and so I'll see everybody tomorrow early, as Rich said, 15 minutes earlier than normal. So just have a great day.
Yes, have a fantastic day, no matter what it is you're doing today. Make sure you, again, join Jamie and Sean tonight at 8 o'clock. That should be a fun show. We have a roster of shows this week. Maybe next week we'll have one or two in there as we try to find another host to fill in with Sean. Until we get back together again tomorrow, I hope that you, all of you, have experienced God's blessings, and that every single thing that you do for the rest of this day and all your bets, Terry, end up in one place, and that can only be
the winner's circle.
Absolutely. Thanks again for joining us, Terry, and I look forward to joining you again tomorrow. Have a fantastic Muddy Monday.